by, it gets worse and worse, and you just have become an obsession. I can't stop thinking about you, and I just need to have you. 4 missed calls from Nelson at 2:40 in the morning. One weird thing, you guys, is that hi everyone, thanks for watching and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited, you guys, because we made it to 1K subscribers. Oh my god, I don't even know how to explain. Like, lately, not only had I been getting attached to my viewers and subscribers and people that I have interacted with, but I feel like this love for you guys that I can't even explain. And I was talking about this with my husband. I'm like, you know, I love talking to them. I saw a few comments on my YouTube videos and I just wanted to answer them, make sure I'm answering their questions or comments or whatever. And I started noticing more. I like talking to you guys because I didn't appreciate when I was a viewer that sometimes like you would talk to a YouTuber or like you would compliment them or something and they just never respond. And so I try my very best to like interact with you guys as much as I can and get to all the comments, because for some reason YouTube doesn't always notify. Generally, you have to go through like the videos to like see if anybody else commented or anything like that, just because like that's how much I want to make sure I answer you guys. But yeah, you guys, we made it to 1,000. We're like 1,006 last time I checked, and I really appreciate every single one of you guys. Today we have a creepy story time, and oh, you guys, just get ready, get your popcorn, your snacks. But before we get there, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My channel is not just about one thing specifically, but if you like makeup, mystery, crime stories, DIYs, product reviews and whatnot, subscribe. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a good time here, because let me tell you, I got stories for you. I got crime stories for you. I got DIYs, I got makeup, I got everything, you guys. So yeah. I know I had told you guys that the next video will be a DIY, but I didn't have all the stuff that I needed that I thought I had, or I just wanted some more rhinestones, okay, that's all. But we're gonna make our own Selena Bustier cosmetic bag, just inspired on the MAC one that came out in like the new MAC Selena collection. If you guys haven't watched the review, I have that too, because ain't nobody trying to pay $35 for a little cosmetic bag, okay? Let's make it ourselves. But yeah, now I am sure that all of us here today have met or interacted, ran to a person who just had a weird vibe, or was just like a weirdo, or just creepy in general. But when that person happens to be in the position of being your boss, your supervisor, or your manager, and your job is in their hands, especially if they're texting you creepy things at 2 in the morning. So the crazy story that I'm going to share with you guys today is precisely about a creepy supervisor that I had. Get ready, guys, because oh god, things just get weird. Of course, as I'm telling you guys a story, I will be doing my makeup. I gotta be doing something. So this is the look we're gonna create today. And hey guys, get ready. Get your wine, your Coca-Cola, your Red Bull, your snacks, your hot Cheetos, whatever, because it's gonna get creepy and it's gonna get good. So just keep watching. We've all heard stories before of like, just, you know, you're at your job. Honestly, it's not even like a joke anymore. Like, there's always some creepy person there, right? When it's somebody in power, somebody above you, or like your boss, your supervisor, your manager, it hits different. Because regular associates, it's like whatever, you know, you just put them in their place and whatever. But when it's somebody who's like, your job is in their hands, it hits different. Now we're gonna go way back, 2010, when I was barely 18 years old. I ended up in this warehouse for the fact that I had just graduated. I was getting ready to go to college, but like my sister at the time, her state of mind was different than now. Just had like this urge for me to get a job. Now for me it was hard because I didn't have a way to move around really. I wanted to go to college, but at the same time like I had to get a job. So my sister-in-law was actually working in warehouse. She's always worked in warehouses all her life, so she has not only like contacts, but like she's a huge hustler and she always knows where the money's at. So that's what I needed. Like I needed money quick, I needed to get a job, and I just needed to get money, you know. At the end of the day, no matter what, even though it was a warehouse, like it was a job and it was a legit job. There's nothing that I had to be ashamed of for the fact that I didn't have to be sketchy or trying to get quick money in the type of way. I was hustling legitimately. And honestly, you guys, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you've never worked in a warehouse before, I have so much respect for the people that work in warehouses. Like it is, oof, it's Like, you want to know what work is? Work at a warehouse. Even though I was really thankful I had a job, I have to admit that it was, you know, it was hard because neither of us had a car, and those warehouses weren't anywhere nearby. And so we had to like wake up at 4 in the morning, and we had to bus our way there. We had to take 2 buses to get there. So we had to be at the stop around 4:15, 4:30. We would take our first bus at that time, and then we would take the second one around 5:30ish. Like, our goal was to get there around 6:45 to 7 because that's the time that our shift started. The thing about these jobs is that there's always a lot of work, but because it's a whole company, there's different warehouses around the area that are towards that same company. And so just when you thought you have a routine, surprise, surprise, they'll move you to another warehouse. I try to work really hard. Like, I wasn't about to like cry about it or anything like that. Like, of course, most likely I want to let my mom down because, like, you know, I wanted her to see that her daughter was as hardworking as her. So I was like, I know, bitch, you know. And I don't want to let my sister down because she vouched for me for that job. You know, she recommended me. She took me to get the application. You know, she took me personally with the one that was actually in charge of like getting the people in or whatever that were gonna work. Of course, I wasn't gonna let her down looking all bad because the person she brought just left them hanging with the job because she was scared of working hard. Before we were actually separated from the warehouse and that I was let go for a situation that had happened where I had stood up for pretty much all the employees there. That's another story though. My sister-in-law and I were working in the same warehouse. Our job was pretty much to scan clothing. Now, we had racks and racks and racks of just clothing and clothing. Our job was to scan every single one of them, fix it in the box, put the label, and then put them on the, I forgot what it's called, but it's like this thing that's constantly running. You're just putting your boxes, putting your boxes, putting your boxes. Now, the system is keeping count of how many boxes are you scanning like per hour or whatever. So they're keeping track of you, like if you're actually working hard or not. So I was on it, you guys. I was on a roll. I'm like, oh, I gotta make these people like know that I'm here to work. Because the thing about those warehouses is that if you don't produce to like their standards, they let you go. Like, they'll cut you and they'll let you go. They just don't give you hours anymore. And it's not like those warehouses, they don't fire you. They just like temporarily let you go, and they're like, oh, there's no hours right now, like, you know, we'll call you when we have something. And they just don't call you back. So I didn't want that. I needed my job. Like, I needed my money. Letting people know that I wasn't there to play around, that I was there to work, I was there to stay. Couldn't even afford to mess up because like, they were keeping track. If you were to mess up some merchandise, like I said, the system keeps track of every single SKU that you would scan. It will let them know that it was you. And I did not want to be called out because they'll like go up to you in front of everyone and tell you, you messed up our merchandise, you know. And I didn't want to be that. I was new. I didn't want that kind of attention on me. So of course I was like just trying my best. I'm not gonna say I didn't make any mistakes, but I was trying my best. It got to a point where one time, I don't know how many people messed up the merchandise, and apparently there was a glitch in the system, and they tried to blame it on me because I was the new one, like I was a newbie. And so they made us stay until 12 midnight, take all the merchandise out again and rescan everything. You guys, this was just imagine being up from 4 in the morning and then getting off until 12, and you don't even have a car to drive yourself home, so you pretty much have to like rely on people's rides. Now, this was a constant situation that my sister-in-law and I had to go through for the fact that we were carless, and then sometimes like we didn't catch the bus right away, or we were out so late that there was no longer buses. So in comes the supervisor. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not trying to hide his name, even though on all my story times I do change people's names, not because so much because I have respect for them, but because I wouldn't want anybody to go bother them or go on their little search hunt or whatever and then like bother them, and then it comes back to me. Especially now that we're like a big family, like I wouldn't, you guys are worse than the FBI sometimes, and I swear to God, I don't want any of them to be harassed or anything like that. But for the life of me, I cannot remember his name. So we'll just name him Nelson, okay? Hey, Nelson. So you guys, that's not his real name, I promise. But anyways, I really, for the life of me, can't remember his name, but we'll name him Nelson anyways. Now, Nelson was our direct supervisor. He was in charge of moving us around, and I mean us by my sister-in-law, me, and the other workers that were like in that warehouse within the area that he was supervising. And so he would, you know, constantly message us like, hey, today so-and-so is going to be whatever, you're going to be here, whatever, either inside that warehouse or like in another warehouse. Now, the warehouse went by numbers: warehouse 1, warehouse 2, warehouse 3, warehouse 4. Now, he would move us around based on the like work volume for the week or for the day, pretty much, depending on how much merchandise they got for the day that we had to take care of, because we had to get these boxes going, because these warehouses distributed to like the big companies. I'm talking about like huge retailers like JCPenney's, you know, Macy's, all of those retailers, like these warehouses are distributing to them, and they have a certain like high demand. People would unload the merchandise and they would take it to the racks, and the people in the racks, like they will make sure like they all match the product that they were asking for, whatever, how many, the quantity, and it would come to us. And so this supervisor pretty much was in charge of moving us around where we had to be. Now, you know, I would always receive messages saying, oh, you're gonna be in warehouse this. I think it was like warehouse 4, and like, you're gonna be in warehouse 4. And my sister-in-law too. So I'm like, oh heck yeah. It's like, yeah, like, you know, we're together. Lunchtime is, you know, it's a breeze because it's her and me. Like, you know, you don't know all of these people. The warehouse, remember the warehouse where I met that one girl who just didn't like me, like she couldn't stand me in high school and she became my friend? Yeah, that one. I think I have that story. I think I already made that story time. Now I'm giving you guys a little bit of a spoiler alert for another story time. Honestly, like in those places, like when you're new, everyone just looks at you like you're some new kind of species in the building or something. I don't know, like they just, like, people be looking at you sideways for no freaking reason, especially because most of the ladies there are ladies that have been there like 1,000 years of their life, and they think that you're here to steal their job, and you're like this little 18-year-old fresh face or whatever, you know, with all this energy. So they be looking at you sideways like, who you and whose job do you think you're gonna take? I was just trying to make money, you know, like I was just trying to make bank. I want to talk about the supervisor for a minute, okay? Because certain things or situations come from the people that you least expect it from. Now, this supervisor was a very quiet person. Nelson was a very quiet person. So Nelson here was a very quiet person. He spoke to you the minimum. Whatever he needed to tell you, he would tell you that. You would answer him. He wouldn't say anything else. He would go away, okay? I really don't know how this all started, but he ended up giving us rights, me and my sister-in-law, along with another girl. I thought that Nelson had something to do with that girl, because that girl like always made sure that she's the one that sat in the passenger's front side, which was right next to him. And like my sister-in-law and I were always with the back, which was like, I didn't care. I didn't want to go. That's so weird. Like, I don't want to be next to him, like the stranger, and he's like taking us home. Now he knows where we live. Top of that, he's our supervisor. So to keep it professional, because like the less they know about you, the better. Especially again, if your job is in their hands, the less they know, the better. Not that I was doing anything wrong, but like he already knew exactly where I resided. So in general, you can say that Mr. Nelson was a very respectable person. You know, he got down to business. He was serious about the job. He wouldn't play around. He was a man of very few words, and whatever he needed to tell you, he told you in the moment, and it's a yes or no, and then he just left. He hardly said hi to people. He was just very awkward, or he was just very odd. I would describe it as antisocial, but I don't know. Once you've been working with people for like years, you would think that you would get over that, because to what I know, he had been in the game for years, you know. So again, sometimes certain situations come from people that you least expect it from. Not only had he been taking us home, but he was now picking us up, because apparently he lived a few blocks away from us. Now, I really appreciate that, but it gets uncomfortable at one point, because like, you just want to keep your distance from your boss. This lady that my sister-in-law was talking to, it was very genuine. I remember like she was trying to give me advice at one point. She was like, hey, do not, because at that time my now husband was my boyfriend, which reminds me, I actually never told him about this. You know, I don't know, it was just something very uncomfortable to talk about, honestly, at the moment. But I remember that lady genuinely told me like, hey, do not let these guys out here like sweet talk you and stuff like that, because it just takes, you know, one moment and, you know, it's over, and this, and, you know, the typical advice that, you know, they give, and it's highly appreciated. You know, that means these people really like, they really want to see the youth progress, and they don't want to see them stuck the way their generation is, you know. So it's very highly appreciated. So she was very genuine, and that's why what I'm gonna tell you guys that she told my sister-in-law, it was hard for me to believe it in the moment, but like I had no reason to doubt her, because she was a very nice lady. She would like buy me bread in the mornings, like she would buy tamales or bread, and she would like make sure I ate. Like she was just one of those like heartwarming people. Like just it's you don't really meet those a lot nowadays, and like it's not like you need to feed me to be on my good side, but it's like those genuine caring people, you don't really find them a lot nowadays. That's a quality that it's hard to find, and this is why my circle is so small, and I can count my friends with my fingers, because it's just those genuine people are very hard to find. And I really appreciate when I find them, and I don't let them go unless they leave. When my sister-in-law told this sweet lady or co-worker of ours that it was Nelson, the one that was giving us rides, her face just went like blank. Like, this is a very smiley, sweet lady, and she was just like, oh, okay, I'm so happy that you guys are getting home safe, and you guys are coming here safe. You know, it's really dangerous for two women to be out there by themselves, you know, such early times in the morning where everything is dark, and then at nighttime where everything is dark again. She was very, very smiley, and as soon as my sister-in-law said Nelson's name, her face went like... At this point, I didn't really hear what my sister-in-law had told her, whereas why she got such a serious face. I just thought, because people are always gossiping and talking and stuff like that, I don't know, I thought she broke some news to her, or somebody got let go, because there was every day there was like always like somebody who got let go because like they were slacking or whatever. Now they had finished talking. Honestly, like, I didn't have the habit of overhearing conversations that involved me, so I really didn't know what was happening. Like, I was just eating my little bread that the lady gave me. Like, I was just too busy eating. And as we were walking back, because we were gonna punch in already, my sister-in-law starts telling me, she was, hey, guess what she just told me? And I was like, what? Like, I'm like, I was expecting to hear, oh, so-and-so got let go, or I don't know, they caught someone messing with someone in there. I don't know, because, you know, with these warehouses, guys, like, you will be seeing the most, I swear to God. He's making it so mysterious. So I'm over here like, what happened? And then she goes, you know, I was telling her, let's just name her Amina. I was telling Amina that thankful that we had been getting rides lately. We're struggling so much with the buses and everything, and it comes down to transportation. We want to catch all these hours, but then like we don't have the transportation. So like, well, I was just letting her know how thankful I was that Nelson had been, you know, picking us up and dropping us off lately. And I was like, okay, and then what happened? And she goes, well, she told me to be careful with him because he was just a very goofy guy. Just like, goofy? How so? Like, okay, you're breaking these little news down about somebody who doesn't even really say good morning to you because he's just so quiet or shy or to himself and awkward and whatever you want. This guy would come in, like, we would all come in. Even when he picked us up, he hardly crossed any words with us. Like, along the whole way, it was just an awkward ride all the time, which at this point, like, I didn't care anymore. I just put my headphones on and just listened to music. Like, I didn't even know if they were talking or not, but I wasn't gonna be part of the silence. This is awkward as AF, you know? And so you're talking about this guy who hardly ever says good morning, who doesn't really talk to anybody, who always eats alone, who is just very serious all the time and gets down to business, and he's kind enough to like give us a ride because I want to think that he feels like bad for us. Like, and now you're telling me that we have to be careful with this guy because he's goofy, because like Amina saying he's goofy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I feel like this is just some gossip, you know, because it's a warehouse. Like, you would hear crap all the time. This is why I didn't really like, yeah, it was awkward, but I understood why he kept to himself, because in warehouses, like in those kind of places, it's really easy to get your name passed around. If somebody doesn't like you, like, your name will be thrown under the bus, and they'll like make up stories about you, and they'll go around or whatever, and now you got history with someone that you had no idea about. That environment is just not for everyone. You're just gonna want to be confronting like every other person all the time that you hear that is like talking about you, because that's how those places are. You're like, goofy how? Like, what do you mean goofy? Like, goofy as in, goofy to me is somebody who's just like always just goofing around, you know. This dude is super quiet. He hardly crosses a word or two with us. He hardly even talks to us, and now you're trying to make me believe that he's goofy. How am I supposed to believe that he's goofy when he's like doesn't even talk? Like, he hardly even says a word or two. Like, what you talking about? Goofy how? Like, is he messing around with people? What are you talking about? So I'm over here thinking, like, what are you guys talking about? Goofy how? Like, I need some clarifications. This is the dude that is like picking us up from our house, taking us to work, and he knows where we live now. What do you guys mean goofy? What does she mean goofy? Like, goofy how? What's goofy to you? Like, what does that mean? She was like, well, I don't know what she meant by that, but she pretty much just warned me into like not having so much contact with him. And I'm over here like, this dude knows where we live. He picks us up, he drops us off every day, and you're telling me that we are to keep our distance from him and keep as minimum contact possible? And he's our supervisor? What? Yeah, that's what kind of led me thinking that you know, her face just got so serious that it kind of scared me a little bit. And I was like, well, what else did she say? And she goes, that's all she said. Like, just keep your distance from him because he's just very goofy. Now we're just like watching him to possibly see whatever the goofiness about him is. I did notice that he would watch me when I work, but that's your supervisor. They usually watch you to make sure that you're producing what they want you to produce, because like you gotta hustle it. They got trucks of merchandise to fill up with all these boxes that you're scanning out. Like you need to like make a box per minute pretty much. So I didn't think anything about it. The only time that I did feel like a little weird is this one time that he caught me talking to two of the guys, which pretty much were receiving the boxes that I was like, not just me, but like me and the girls along, like making boxes, were throwing. They were like my age and maybe like 2 or 3 years older than me, and they were the ones receiving merchandise. Now these guys were flirty all the time, and I just tried to keep it friendly because like we were in the same environment. And so one time, I don't know what one of them was asking me and the other one said something as well, and I saw the supervisor staring at me, but he never said anything. He was just staring at me, and I'm like, okay, I think that was just like kind of like, you know, the look, kind of like a warning, like I'm watching you kind of thing. Like I didn't think anything bad of it. I just saw him staring at me, and he looked a bit like not bothered or anything. He's just like stern, like, you know, like he's just watching you, and he's waiting for the moment for you to stop talking and back to work pretty much. But I did, like I said, I did notice that he would stare, like he would not stare, but look at me constantly. And I felt like he was watching me because, well, he needed to make sure I produce. Now the following event is what really opened my eyes, and it's really creepy. And it's what finally made me realize what this lady was talking about and what she was trying to warn us about. There was a time where I wasn't coming home until about 10 at night or midnight. Holiday season was just around the corner. They had so much more merchandise to deliver. And sometimes, honestly, they wouldn't let us go. Like, and it's not so much that they would force us. Could have said, I can't. But the thing is that with these little warehouses, people just come and go. And any company, you're just disposable to anyone, honestly. You're disposable to anyone. And so there was always people who were trying to apply to those little warehouses, and you weren't like anything special. Like if you said no and they saw they couldn't rely on you, they'll just let you go. And so of course, like I will suck it up, and I'm like, well, it's overtime. Like, you know, I'm all about it. It's overtime. It's fine. Like I'll just take it. It's more money. I would just come home dead. I'm talking about like, I would just come home. I wouldn't even eat nothing. I would just go straight to bed for the next morning, wake up, shower, and let's go again. Another day, another dollar. This specific day, I just came home deceased. I was tired. I knocked out, you guys. Like, I mean, I knocked out. Okay. Comes 4 o'clock in the morning, and I gotta wake up to go to work again. Alarm rings, and first thing I do is I open my phone to see my boyfriend's message. There was a message from my boyfriend, all right, but there was also a message from Nelson. The message read as follows: I've been having a hard time in telling myself that this is not right and it's something that shouldn't be happening. But as the days go by, it gets worse and worse, and you just have become an obsession. I can't stop thinking about you, and I just need to have you. ... And the next message reads, please. Now, you think it ends there? Naturally, I'm in shock. 18 years old, and there's this 35-year-old man who happens to be my supervisor, knows where I live, picks me up and drops me off, and works with me, sending me these creepy, weird messages at 2 in the morning. I'm over here trying to process what he just said because, again, I'm 18, okay? Now, again, you think it stopped there? Oh, no. No. As I'm looking down, looking at my little flip phone, yes, a little flip phone, because that's all my mama was able to give me at the time. It was 2010 anyways. Smart advanced phones weren't really a huge thing. It was like if you had a phone or not, really, but whatever. So I'm looking down my phone, trying to figure out what to answer this psychopath. And I noticed there was like a little 4 on that little phone tool, you know what I'm saying? That little phone tool that lets you know how many missed calls you have or something like that. Yeah, I look at it, there's a 4. It's a 4. Problem. Must have been my boyfriend. Sometimes he calls me when I don't answer text messages. So, but damn, 4? Let's see. Call out. Cecil calls. 4 calls from Nelson at 2:40 in the morning. Now, to my female audience, you guys are going to understand the following, because I feel like everyone, all of us, at one point, we've always experienced some kind of harassment, okay? This is really sad, but it's reality, okay? Instead of automatically getting defensive, especially at such a young age where you're like brand new, you don't know what the heck the world is about, you just got out of high school, you only know what you know in high school. Instead of something being defensive and thinking about, oh, I'm gonna let people know, the first thing you think is, sadly, a lot of us, instead of thinking to put this person in their place, we start process, especially at such a young age. You know, as women now, we're like, okay, fool, like, wanna square up? We'll square up. We start thinking about the situation and we start to ask ourselves, what can you have possibly said to them that maybe made them think you were interested in some type of way with them, or what can you have possibly done or said to provoke the situation, when a lot of times it's not even your fault. And it's sad. It's sad because it shouldn't be like that. So I'm over here sitting, reflecting, trying to figure out what could have I possibly said to this man that he felt comfortable speaking to me this way. Because to what he said, and I kid you not, you guys, exactly how I told you guys the message is exactly how I read it. And it's been, what, almost 10 years. No, 10 years. It's been 10 years, and that's how much it didn't mark me or scar me, but that's how much, like, it affected me in that moment, that I just memorized every single word of that message, word by word, you guys. With that being said, as you notice, as I read you the message, it doesn't seem like he's talking to this 18-year-old. It sounds like he's talking to this woman who has inspired in him this weird, odd obsession, when we had only crossed about 2 to 3 words in the few weeks that we had been working together. Where can this have possibly gone left when I hardly spoke to the guy and the guy hardly spoke to me? That was just some psychopath shit, and it was really scary too, because like, damn, I never gave you a reason, you know? Like, if anything, I talked more with the 2 guys that I had mentioned prior that I directly worked with, and not even they started being weird. Like, yeah, like they would tell me stuff, like, of course they would tell me stuff. They even told me one time that like they would like kind of like play around with each other, like telling each other like who I would actually date from both of them. Like, I had no freaking idea, you guys. I had no freaking idea, because like I was focused on my job and I had a boyfriend, so I wasn't there to see what I can catch or anything like that. Like, I had no idea. This guy just told me like randomly one time, like we happened to be sitting across each other when we were like eating lunch. He told me, he's like, oh yeah, we play around and we call you Curly Maria, because like, as there was like this other Maria, like this other lady, like, yeah, we call you Curly Maria, and then like both of us, we said like, you're our girlfriend. This is like, he just like, he was like nonchalant about it, because there was no malice behind that. Like, he was straightforward with me, because there was no malice behind that. Like, he was just saying like, yeah, it was just like a little guy game here. Like, we knew that you wouldn't even look our way. Like, we knew that you kept it professional. Like, you never gave us any reasoning to why, but we just played like that, you know? Like, you know, sorry if with disrespect, like, no, it's cool, like, don't worry about it. Like, it's just, I was blushing, like, hearing this thing. So again, like I said, like, I never even thought, especially like coming from my background where like guys were usually scared of me because I was such a tomboy. Like, I would never have thought. But at least this guy was straightforward, and he wasn't weird about it. He wasn't like stalker status, and he wasn't like being like all freaking weird like that, you know? He told me straightforward, yeah, we play around, we like joke around that you wouldn't date him, you would date me, and this and that, and then we call you our girlfriend, and yeah, we say Curly Maria and this and that. Like, he was like straightforward and honest with me. Like, it didn't give me a weird vibe at all. It's just like, it's normal. We're all about the same age. It's normal, dude. Like, it's attraction between like young people is normal. But in Nelson's situation, we're talking about a 35-year-old who has had hardly any, not contact, but conversation with this 18-year-old who is new, who has only been around for a few weeks, and he's talking to me as if we've had something or some psychopath shit, you guys. Like, and like I said, sadly, automatically, sometimes you feel a guilt. Like, you started this. Like, you provoked this. Like, I didn't even want to tell my sister-in-law because I was afraid that she thought I was just gonna cause a commotion or a problem, and that she wasn't gonna like pull me around anymore so I couldn't work in the same warehouse that she does. Like, I didn't want to cause a problem. I didn't want to like make this huge, and like I didn't want to like risk losing my job if I reported this guy. So I stood quiet, and I did answer her back. I said, I'm sorry, I just saw this message. I really don't know what to say to you. But then, like, again, like, I started thinking and thinking and thinking, like, what the hell did I do, though? Like, I go into his car in the mornings because, like, this guy offered us to, like, pick us up. And that wasn't just me, it was also my sister-in-law. So we go into his car. I barely met this guy about 5 weeks ago. He happens to be my supervisor. We've hardly had a word or two. When we have ever spoken, it has always been 100% work-related. He takes us home because he clearly offered, and we give him gas money. He picks us up because he clearly offered. He felt bad, and so he picks us up. And in both times, the drive is always this awkward silence while I'm with my headphones listening to my music. Where, in what moment can he had possibly gotten a wrong idea, or if anything, the girl that would always ride in front with him, that we would drop off first, was always like all over his girl. To me, it seems like they might have had something, because she was very comfortable with him, and like she would get in his car and just loosen up her hair and do like the most like if he was like, if they had something more than just like a co-worker relationship, like it was a little too like not intimate, but it was just a little too like, you can tell she was very, very comfortable around him, like in his car and stuff like that. So I don't know, and I don't care, honestly. I didn't care, like, dude, I can care less. But again, as I was thinking, like, where could have this gone wrong, you know, I started to remember, like, no, like, I've never given him a reason. So honestly, I didn't want to be uncomfortable, and I didn't want to be like weird about it. So I messaged him after, and I said, you know, honestly, I don't feel like this is appropriate. I really don't know where could have had made you think otherwise, like that, you know, I could have wanted something with you, but I have a boyfriend, and he's a very jealous person, and I don't want to have any problems at work and in my personal life. So I would really appreciate it if you don't ever speak to me this way, because I have not given you reason, and I don't want to see these kind of messages, kind of thing, you know. His response, okay, that's it. Okay. Reading his response should have made me feel better, because I told him to stop pretty much and leave me alone in a respectful way without it pushing it to cost my job. But for some reason, his okay made me uncomfortable. As usual, that morning he picked us up like he always did. If silence and awkwardness was there before, now it was like dead silence. Like, not one word ever like crossed, nothing. Okay, nothing, not even a good morning, nothing. I didn't mention any of this to my sister-in-law. Again, I didn't want to cause a problem or her to think that I was gonna cause a problem. Unfortunately, sometimes instead of just like feeling automatically that rage of like, you're disrespecting me, like sometimes we feel guilt and we start to question whether we might have provoked that situation, or we might have put ourselves in that position to be disrespected. And in my case, this time, at all. Like, zero at all. Thankfully, without me having to say a word, my sister-in-law catched on to the fact that this guy had other interests towards me, because she had a really, really good friend in that warehouse, and they were always talking. And I forgot how he came up, but she told her, like, yeah, lately I don't know about this guy. Like, I feel he's kind of sketchy. Like, I don't really trust his intentions anymore, because I noticed him like looking at my sister-in-law a lot, and I don't want there to be a problem, honestly. because like he's a supervisor, so we were ever to like speak against him, we pretty much could lose our jobs. And she looks at me and she goes, so let's just not get rights from him anymore. You know, I know you and I struggle with the busing, but you know, we'll make it through. It's just better this way. I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, it's cool. Like, I'm more comfortable like that, honestly. Like, I didn't tell her specifically, but I'm like, honestly, like, it was getting a little uncomfortable, the fact that, you know, he would go out of his way and, you know, pick us up and drop us off. It was just getting like uncomfortable that he was like, I don't know if he was compromised to doing that. Like, I was just like making sure that she knew I supported her decision 100%, because I was totally with it. You know, like, I did not want to ride with this guy anymore. I felt unsafe at one point. One thing I do want to make clear, you guys, even though I didn't do this myself, I now know that it's better to let someone know about a situation like this when somebody's harassing you or doing these kind of, like, having these weird behaviors towards you, because you just never know. Like, I took the right steps into, like, giving myself my place, putting him in his, and, you know, reminding him, hey, you know, we work together, this is not appropriate, I'm 18, you're like 35, stop, you know? So I didn't let anyone know because I didn't want to cause a problem or commotion. I feel like it would have been better if I would have let my sister-in-law know anyways, because even though that, you know, we stopped taking rides from this guy or whatever, you never know. There was times when we were moved from different warehouses, sometimes she was kept longer than me, or I was kept longer than her. And so obviously we wouldn't take the bus, like we wouldn't ride the bus home together. So there was times where I was like at the bus stop at 8 at night or 7 and it was already dark. And it was the area where we would take buses, it wasn't really like, it was a road, but it wasn't really like a regular public area, since there's so many warehouses and there's so many factories there. It's one of those places, you know, and there's like little desert areas around, so it wasn't really safe for me to be taking bus, like, let alone this guy was being creepy with me. And you just never knew, like, he could have just swooped me up, you guys, and nobody knew about this guy because I didn't say anything to anyone. Like, I shared this with no one, you guys. So if you guys are in that situation, or you guys ever come across a situation like that and it's your job, like, just make sure you let someone know, because you just never know. See what happened to Vanessa Guillen, you guys. You guys know I made a video about that already. See what happened to her. Like, she had to let someone know, and because of that, not the basis under investigation, but she never gave the name, like the direct names of the people that were harassing her. And now, like, it's like they don't really, it's a mystery. Like, they don't know, they're investigating, and these guys are covering it up. You guys, for your safety, if you ever come across a situation like this, say something, speak up, tell someone who's really close to, hey, just want to let you know, yeah, like, this got me thinking, you know, like, I said this to this person, telling you, because people are freaking crazy nowadays. They're psychopaths. And this guy, I kid you not, you guys, like I said, we hardly even crossed a word or two, and this guy, the way he told me, like, I had become an obsession. And dude, like, now that I'm a mom, like, I don't have a daughter, right, but now that I'm a mom, if I ever found out that a 35-year-old was saying that to my 18-year-old daughter, hell. One weird thing, you guys, is that after that, we only saw him for like a couple of more days, and then he was gone. I really don't know what happened. I'm not sure if he might have harassed someone else. I'm not sure, but this guy just stopped. Like, he was a supervisor, okay? He was a supervisor, and he just stopped coming. Like, I don't know what happened to him. I really don't know. Like, we were just saying, like, hey, whatever happened to him? We're like, oh, I don't know. And then people were like, well, I don't know. He never, like, people were starting to say, like, he never talked or anything like that. It's not like we knew, like, if he had problems, like, he was always to himself. He was always quiet. Like, you couldn't even get a good morning out of him. This, like, people start saying, so, like, I really don't know what this lady that tried to warn us about him knew about him, that she told us, be careful with him, keep your distance, and the least contact you can have with him possible, the better. Because these people were saying over here that they hardly ever talked to him, and he hardly ever said hi to them. And so what did this lady know? Like, and how? Because this guy was so quiet. Like, how? Maybe, I don't know, maybe he harassed someone else and might have shared it with her and she knew. I don't know, you guys, because there's people there who had been in the game for years. I'm talking about, there's people who had worked for like the warehouse of the company for like 40 years. And they know stuff, you know? So I don't know what this lady knew, but I do find it weird that a few days later after this whole incident, he just disappeared. He just was gone. Nobody knew what happened to him. Hey guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this creepy, weird story time of just thinking about it. It's like, you know, but yeah, next one will be my DIY, you guys. I promise. It's just that I ordered some rhinestones. You guys know I don't like doing half-ass videos. Like, I like to do these things right, but we'll be doing that here on my channel. We'll create our own Selena Quintanilla Bustier cosmetic bag. So yeah, you guys, hope you guys enjoyed, and please subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. I see y'all coming back. 80% of my viewers coming back and not subscribing. What's up with that, you guys? So if I'm at 1,000 subscribers right now, and I got 80% of my viewers not subscribing, can you imagine how big we'll be now? Come on, you guys, subscribe, join the family. You guys, you like my video, you come back all the time. Just subscribe. But you guys, I'll see you guys next time, and yeah, take care. Be careful, cause people be freaking psychopaths nowadays.